to speak in a way you'll understand. But if you don't hear me well, please call me back.
You have your number.
Okay, I'm going to try to take you through the process of our budget. I work with ADAX Petroleum. ADAX is owned by Chinese government.
Fast.
Okay. Now, what it means is that from Nigeria, ADAX head office is in Geneva, Switzerland, which still reports to Beijing, China. So what it means is that our budget goes from Nigeria to Switzerland and then China for final approval. Now, what we do is that the direction comes first from the head office. Okay, they are the ones that set the strategic direction, the targets for the year, the objectives. They run what we call economics or project appraisals to determine the projects we're going to impact within the year. Now, once that is done, we kickstart the budget with a budget meeting in Nigeria. Now, during the budget meeting, the budget controller or budget manager, brings everybody to the round table to educate them on our strategies for the year, the things we want to achieve, give them direction. Now, in that meeting, there's budget education, trying to enlighten the people on what the budget is all about, how to go about it. Once that is done, they send out a work program. The work program, we'll call it TWP, Technical Work Program. Now, it comes in form of what we saw earlier, the bar chart. It shows the schedule of all the projects, the wells to be drilled, wells to oil anyway, the wells to be drilled, how long it's going to take, and all of that. Once we get that, because that drives the entire process. Now, once we determine the wells we are going to drill, we send out a form, budget forms. The forms that show, giving you a template on how to fill out your budget. So it makes it easier for those that don't understand. Now, on the templates, you're going to have your assumptions. Some of the assumptions we make are exchange rates. We determine the exchange rate that will be used, the oil price that will be used, okay, the hotel rates, airfares, all the rates. Based on historical information, we determine these rates. Now, once that is done, we start. The different departments prepare their budgets. Sorry. Now, the big budget, which is the capex, comes from drilling departments and facilities departments. The drilling do the budget for the wells, how much is going to get to drill the wells, based on the timing. We know how much a rig will cost, for how many days it's going to be on hire. Then the other logistics, like the boats, the other personnel that work on the well. Using that, they build up a budget for the well. And then for facilities, once we have determined the wells we are going to drill, the ones that we completed within the year, we now determine how many kilometers of pipelines we're going to lay. And from experience, we can determine how much it takes to lay a kilometer of pipeline, for example. Also determine what platforms we're going to build. We'll build the cost for all this. Now, apart from drilling and facilities, that does the capex budget, the other big budget is production, but it goes to OPEX. Okay, then apart from that, we have the support services, like the HR, the admin, and other departments. Once all these departments put together their budget, it's sent to the budget department. The budget department collects all the budgets, put them together, and present to our management in Nigeria. Now, the management in Nigeria reviews the budget, sends to Geneva, then for Geneva to Beijing for final approval. Now, one major challenge we face is that most times they come back cutting the budget without any explanation. You don't even know who you are going to ask. You have budgeted for $10 million, for example. Somebody has told you he wants you to drill 10 wells. And you know that to hire a rig, you need a rig for 10 days. And then a rig costs a certain amount. Now he comes back and says, sorry, I'm not going to give you $20 million, for example. I'm going to give you 10. So what does he want me to do? He doesn't tell you, don't drill 10 wells, cut it down to 2, or so on and so forth. They just give you a budget without any explanation.
Corruption. He knows.
No, I think since you have been interrupted, let me interrupt you. How do you respond to this, Chairman?
Now, what happens most times, what we are faced is that, you know, we try to educate or a kind of react to it. You know, send mails, seek explanations from them. Sometimes it doesn't come. But what we'll try to do is that once you have done that, so that by the time you start spending, you let them know, oh, I have drilled 2 wells. I have 3 left to do for the year. What do you want me to do?
So the answer is you negotiate with them,
Yeah.
you ask for clarifications, you try to share the problem with them.
Yeah.
That's fine, I think that's perfectly
That's what
acceptable.
we'll do. They then see that say, sorry, that's what I'm giving you. You can't do anything. You work with that. When the budget is exhausted, there's nothing you can do. Okay?
Anything else?
Now, once it's approved, we start the implementation. Now, how we control the budget? We control as we are spending. Once a budget is given, for capital items, there must be what we call AFE. That's authorization for expenditure. Now, it's drafted, showing, okay, now I've got this budget and I want to start spending. I want to do a facility that will cost me so and so amount. You justify it. These are the benefits. This is how much I want to spend. This is what I want to spend it. And this is the schedule. You know, it gives a more detailed information on how you're going to spend the budget money. Now, if there's no AFE, there's no spending. Once AFE is approved, now you start spending. For us in accounts, before I can pay any invoice, I check if there's money left in the AFE. If there's no money left, I stop. Now, what we do most times is that every month we send out a report showing approved AFE amount, actual amount, and the variance. And we put the ones above 10% in negative, in red. You know, makes it bold. But we don't wait until it's exceeded. Once it's 80% to the budget, we start flashing it, you know, to the person responsible. Please note that your budget is close to, you're close to your budget amount. If you think, because at that point, you know whether you will exceed it or not. If you think you're going to exceed it, ask for a more amount, justify it, and send to management before you can continue spending. But if you feel that you will still be within the limits, no problem. Keep spending.
Can I ask you to go back for something that maybe we have not talked about, which you mentioned now, and that is the use of the AFE, authorization for expenditure. Is this kind of over and above the approved budget, or is this replacing the approved budget? And is this something that we ask for and request and get during the year, or is this at the very beginning of the planning process?
You do AFE when budget is approved. Without budget, you can't do AFE. Okay, now it's expected that your AFE amount should be within the budget amount, but it can exceed in a few cases. Justify it.
But it's really nothing else but the budget put in a form, in a special form called AFE.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to understand your logic for why do you use AFEs?
What
The budget is already there and it's approved. Why do we have to request an additional approval?
Okay, what we do is that we look at it, that budget is, okay, you've got approval to do certain projects within the year,
Right.
which may or may not happen.
Good, that explains it right there. So you have an approved budget, but at the same time, the work will not happen unless it is further approved in terms of timing and in terms of.
So
we-
yeah.
Can we stop and take any more questions? Or is there more to say?
Just a few more. Eh?
Don't listen to everybody.
Yeah, more.
You have about 3 minutes left.
About
Otherwise, he's waiting for you in the hotel, huh?
Okay, one more thing I want to mention is that because of the nature of our company, we also report to government. We don't own assets. We're a company that works for the kind of what we sign what we call petroleum sharing contract with government. Okay, we know you well. we drill it for government and share the oil. So what it means is that anything we spend, government does not give us any money. If you drill and you hit a dry well, you lose the money. If you get oil, you share it to government. Okay? So what that means is that each time you do a budget, you send it to government approval. If they don't approve budget, you can't work. If you work without budget, government will not approve your cost. Still they share in the oil. Okay, so you must make sure it's important that before you spend anything above to $50,000 goes to government for approval. So they approve the budget, and then at the end of the year, we send the expenditure for the approval. Once it's approved, they will recover it from oil.
Because the sharing, I guess, of the profit is based on profit, not sales, for example.
It's based on
the cost impacts the profit in this case.
yeah.
That's why they have to approve the cost.
Yeah, they have to approve.
Now, let's open the floor for questions, but first we'll do what Hassan loves to do, and that is talk for you. And now we'll open the floor for specific questions related to the situation. Merci, Hassan. Yes, Fatma.
I just need to ask, in the beginning of his presentation, he said that the finance director, he's bring everyone to the table. That means he bring all the staff?
No.
Because there should be a focal points in each department to prepare the budget.
No, not the entire company. He brings, what would I call the budget, the responsible budget officers in each department.
In each department, okay. Because you say everybody, so I didn't get, what do you mean?
Or let me say everybody in the budget team.
Okay, fine.
And the nice thing about this is that they are supplementing written, maybe, directives and instructions with verbal ones. In a meeting at the very beginning, I think it leads to a better explanation of what are our assumptions, our guidelines, our forms, our schedules, yeah? So this is not a bad idea at all, to have a meeting to share the directives that are coming from top management with all the budget officers, as he said, or maybe department heads, for example. To bring the department heads into a room and have a budget, a pre-budget meeting, pre-budget.
Then another thing we do that is very important is that every quarter we do what we call a reforecast. Okay, now it's clear what we are doing and how much we're going to spend. So come up with a fresh estimate, and we don't discard the budget. We still compare with budget and reforecast figures. Okay, but it's important you keep reforecasting as we move on.
4 times a year?
4 times a year.
4 times a year you reforecast.
Yeah.
No, now, can you explain what is the difference? You have the plan, right?
We have a plan.
What will be the difference between the planning and the forecasting?
The planning, at the beginning of the year, when we did the planning, it's when we did the planning, some things were not clear to us. Okay.
So you missed so many things in planning?
You may have missed so many things. Even with government, like the government will report